I've been an advocate of Jesus and justice all of my adult life. I'm in my 45th year as the senior pastor of the First Institutional Baptist Church.
If I had to describe Dr. Stewart in only one word, it would be compassionate leader. He has a heart for service for anyone who is in need, and he is a natural leader.
The one word that comes to mind, I would say source. My father's a source of inspiration. He's a source of power. He's a source of knowledge. He's a source of leadership.
My dad is committed. He's committed to his call from God. He's committed to his children. He's committed to his congregation, and he's committed to the community.
When I was a little boy, at 11 years of age, I remember watching Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream message on the footsteps of the Lincoln Memorial. And as he was preaching, and I watched it on the black and white television, he was talking about me. And then when I came here to Arizona, of course, Arizona did not have the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday, and there was a big fight starting in 1986, and I happened to be the one that God had to provide leadership. For several years in the mid-1980s, every time the King holiday was presented to the state legislature to become a state holiday, it was always defeated. And so Governor Babbitt, then Governor Bruce Babbitt, called me at my house on a Friday afternoon and said, Warren, I have an idea. I believe I can declare the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday in Arizona by executive order. And I want to do it in the pulpit of the First Institutional Baptist Church. So that next Sunday, May 18th, 1986, he stood in the pulpit of this church and signed the executive order. In that message to all of us who were here witnessing it, he said, you're going to have to fight for this. We met with Governor-elect Meekum shortly after he won the election in November. When he became governor, one of the first things he did was to rescind the holiday. And all heck came down on Arizona. Concerts were boycotted.
National organizations refused to come to Phoenix for their conventions or their meetings because we did not have a King holiday.
Growing up as a child in Arizona, when we didn't have a national holiday, it was an event that we would go to every year. We would march. And you know, I thought that was kind of normal, right? That, you know, on Martin Luther King holiday, you go and you march. I understood that it was the resistance to recognize such an influential person, a black person.
A lot of people don't know my dad was threatened to be killed. Bushes were burned at our house. Beer cans were thrown in our yard. You know, those things were still around in the late 80s and 90s.
I had backed away after we won it twice in the legislature and it was overturned by referendum. Then a news anchor called me off record and said, Pastor Stewart, we need to hear from you. I said, no. I said, it's been defeated. I said, the people have spoken. He said, Pastor Stewart, please reconsider. He said, people need to hear from you. I said, okay, let's try it one more time. And so I formed what is called Victory Together, One Clear Choice. And that was an even broader based coalition. And this time, the business leaders, it was called the Phoenix 40 at that time, they came at the table with us and under my leadership.
But it was the steering committee and Dr. Stewart who provided the impetus and who helped get everyone on board.
And we worked for 2 more years, and November 3rd, 1992, Arizona became the first state in the nation to pass the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday overwhelmingly.
You know, if his legacy is how he fought for the King holiday, that's one thing. But you know, how he's fought for us as his children, how he's fought for his congregation, in so many different ebbs and flows of life. His commitment to God is paramount.
The work that he was doing with newly arrived citizens to the area helping people integrate into the fabric of the community, and the feeding of the homeless in Phoenix.
And so since the King holiday, I've still been engaged. I mean, as I said, in immigration reform, in criminal justice reform, still fighting for equitable education, for housing, for a minimum wage. All of that is part of the justice fight.
He pushed for what was right, and doing the right thing. And if someone else needed a voice, he would lend his voice, advocate and help support those who are in need.